coming to you on April 3rd, 2012. It is episode 108 of the FTW podcast, the wrestling world in all its laughable glory. I am Harrison, and with me as always is Joe. Say hello, Joe.
I hate you.
Rob. Say hello, Rob.
Hey.
Kevin. Say hello, Kevin.
What's up?
And Garvin is manning the board. If you're new to the show, check out FTWpodcast.com for more about us and how to get involved in tonight's show as well as upcoming shows. You can reach out to us on Twitter, Facebook, voicemail, text message, email. We're going to be bringing in your comments throughout the show. It's going to be awesome. Tonight's live chat can be found at FTWpodcast.com/live, and you can also email questions at FTWpodcast.com. And if you're on Twitter, use hashtag FTWLive. We'll be reading your messages throughout the air tonight. Okay, dudes. I am so pumped for this show. WrestleMania Raw was fantastic, but let's just roll right into this with our question of the week last week. The big story going into WrestleMania was obviously Cena versus Rock. And we asked, does Cena Rock actually have to have a winner in order for it to be a success? Everybody said, yes, it has to. Matt said the only way in my book for it to be a success is they go out Blue Blazer style. Lewis said the fans will feel slighted if there is no winner, and they can't afford to damage either by having them win clean, which is actually what happened. Sean said, I think the better question is, can it live up to the year-long hype, which we'll get to in a moment, because now that we've had a winner, and we followed up with you guys, The Rock was made the winner, and after a year-long build-up, was it a success? Everyone's saying yes, because now it's over. That's where everybody stood. Adam Pro 123 said, I guess that the success can be measured in the buys. Personally, I liked it, but I don't think it's over between the two, so I can't say yet. I really think it's over. I can't see them. It's been a year. I'm dried out. RKO Voices on Twitter said yes, now that it's done and over with. Steve Credo from the Marked Up Facebook group said, and Marked Up podcast, said a year was too much build for it. Would have come stronger if it was announced at the Rumble or maybe Survivor Series, which I think you were saying, Joe.
Yeah, it was just too damn long.
Yeah, I think when they first announced it, that was one of the things you said. It's like they don't need to do it now. They could have done it. I think you actually said Survivor Series.
Yeah, there's just too much time for them to just let it go stagnant. They had gaps, and it was just too damn long. So then you're kind of like, okay, this build up at the end better be good, and it sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. The build-up at the end did fizzle a bit. James said not exactly, because Cena was the one who had to make a point, but he didn't. So all that stuff he was talking, all that shit he was talking, he can't say anything more because he didn't accomplish beating The Rock, which is true. The Schofield on Twitter said the match was mid-card good at best. I expected so much more. It was all built up, and it seems like it was for naught, which that's probably the crux of the matter. I don't think anything those two could have done, aside from maybe actually demolish the building, could stand up to a year-long hype.
Rock just seems slow to me. Anyway.
We're going to get into that when we do our... We'll get into that later. Juice Coltrane said we'll have to wait for the numbers of G.I. Joe to come out to see if it was or wasn't, which is really funny. And Johnny Doe said, Cena Rock did not live up to the hype, but Undertaker Triple H exceeded its hype by leaps and bounds. We're going to get into that later, but first we're going to go right into Impact. I feel so sorry for Impact. I mean, this is WWE show wall to wall. So, but we're going to do it, and you know what I love? This is something Garvin and I think Rob, you get pissed off at this too. Whenever we say nice things about Impact, it seems like every other podcast and website hates us.
Good. Fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's our attitude. Good call, guys.
The two angry guys of the show in unison.
Basically, big thing on Impact at Styles Clash 10 on Twitter said it, and there's the Aries face turn, or was it? Rob, we were talking about this in pre-show. Seems like Austin Aries is doing the face turn and going for the main event.
Yeah, I thought they handled it really well. I mean, you've got Bully Ray who ruins his match last week, so he comes out this week and gets all pissed off and, stands up for himself and does what Aries does best, delivers a great promo and basically inserts himself into the main event match by saying, okay, I've got a problem with Bully Ray, and because I've got a problem with Bully Ray, I want to team up with James Storm. He gives James Storm a further face push by going on about how, Storm stands up for himself like he stands up for himself. All in all, I really like the way it was done. It lets Aries it allows Aries to keep his personality without and still move towards being a face, which I think works the best.
Yeah, that was always the danger when we were talking about moving him to the main event, was that he has such a great edge, and that you worry that it's going to get really dulled once he gets in there, because that's kind of what happened to AJ Styles when he was the phenomenal one. You know, when he was in the main event title picture, it was awesome, and then when finally they started heaping storyline after storyline after storyline on him, and then he started making that face turn, it just seemed so watered down, because it's the only way to describe it. So yeah, it was a really good point, Rob. One thing, Robert from Facebook said, did anybody else notice that Devon wasn't wearing the TV title belt? Is the TV title belt being scrapped? What do you say to that?
I didn't even notice Devon was there.
Yeah, he was in the main event segment slot where they all came out trying to get Hogan to take the GM role.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be scrapping the TV belt. I think they should, in all honesty, at least until they get their roster a bit more filled out. But I don't think it means anything that they didn't have him showing the TV title off. It's just
it's been a long time. I'm sorry.
The purpose of that segment was to push Hogan, not really to do anything else.
Yeah, and it also wasn't a
match
situation that required him to wear a title. He doesn't wear the title 24/7.
Yeah.
He wasn't out there to be a champion. He was out there to be a representative of whatever that face group that they had that wanted Hogan to be in charge.
Yeah. Aries was out there, and I don't think Aries had the X title with him. He may have had the X Division title with him or not, but
it wasn't like he was cutting a segment. It wasn't needed. And really, it's been a very long time since Devon held gold, so I have no doubt he maybe forgotten it in the hotel room. He just shows up and he's like, "Oh shit, that's right. I keep forgetting I got this thing." All right, well, we'll just go out with that.
Hey, Devon, where's the TV title? Huh?
Ooh.
Oh, damn it! I knew I forgot something.
It's in my other pants. You know what? I'll be right back. Okay, so Austin Aries. Going for, really coming out of Impact, that was the big story as far as we're concerned, because we've been clamoring for Austin Aries to be the main event. Rob, do you see him dropping the belt and doing it? Do you see him going main event? Or do you think this was like a test?
Well, right now, I don't think that he needs to drop the belt. I think he can stay X Division champion a little bit longer and perform in the main event. I was amazed. I knew Aries was good. I was amazed at how good he did in the opening parts of the match, how he took it to Bubba Ray, how he took it to Bobby Roode, how he just owned it. Yeah, he owned it. You look at these two guys, Bobby Roode and Bully Ray, and you're like, man, they are going to beat the crap out of this little guy. He made them look stupid. The moves they had him pulling off, he really did a good job. And I think Bully Ray did a great job and showed why he's one of the best heels in the business right now, later on in the match, when he finally has Aries down and the crowd's chanting for Aries. So, Bully Ray, picks up the crowd chant and does the clap and kind of rolls his eyes. Bully Ray is an expert at doing that, at just mocking the crowd and I'm beating the crap out of the guy you're cheering for.
Now you got to admit, if this is what's going on, if Aries keeps the belt or whatever and moves in, you got to admit this is probably the most excited we've been for the Impact main event title picture or main event picture in a long time.
Oh yeah.
You got Storm and from the chat. Chat just popped in saying, is James Storm injured because Aries took a beating in that match? And no, not really. They were basically trying to separate Storm from Roode. But still, you got James Storm, Roode, Bully Ray, now Austin Aries possibly. Just those four guys alone make for a dynamic main event.
Oh, yeah. And I don't think Storm was injured. I think the purpose of the match was to push Storm versus Roode by having those two avoid each other as much as possible. And I think they wanted to push Aries. I think they wanted to start laying the seeds and start showing the fans that, yes, Austin Aries can handle main event stuff. He can stay in there with the Bobby Roode. He can stay in there with a Bully Ray. And I think he can. I really love this feud. I hope they turn Bully Ray versus Austin Aries into a big feud.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it'll help both Bully Ray and Austin Aries.
And we probably should talk about the rest of Impact. It's just Austin Aries in the main event is so cool. So first match, Velvet Sky versus Madison Rayne. We're starting to see that feud rekindled. I mean, that's kind of getting interesting for the Knockouts division. Morgan.
Well, not only that, but Velvet Sky made it clear that she wanted that title shot that she never got. She never got a rematch clause, and she basically demanded it.
Yeah, I was just about to say that one of the things that's really impressing me with Velvet Sky, I always knew her ring work was good. She's getting better on the mic as well. I really love that after-match promo where she got on the mic and basically just said, you know what, I'm coming for Gail Kim. And I don't care who I have to go through to get there. I'm coming, and I'm going to get my belt back.
Anytime I get to see Velvet Sky on camera, all right, moving on. Morgan Crimson, no contact. I'll be, whatever. Morgan Crimson.
Giggity go.
Yeah.
Right.
No contest. This feud seems to be, I don't know. I mean, it seems like they're obviously building for the pay-per-view. Solid match. I mean, that it's going to be, obviously, at the pay-per-view. I mean, do you see this feud really growing at all, or?
I don't think it's going to get any bigger right now. I am kind of worried that I do think that TNA needs to be careful going here, because for 2 weeks in a row now, Matt Morgan has basically just beat the shit out of Crimson and has come close to nearly destroying him. So in the following weeks, they have to give Crimson some sort of a push to keep this a viable feud. Otherwise, it's running the risk of just basically TNA tipping their hands and saying, okay, well, Morgan's going to end the streak.
Okay. And 2 notes before we move on. I mean, I don't want to talk about Anderson and Jeff Hardy. 2 notes before we move on. Hogan did take the job.
Yes.
And, ladies and gentlemen, the Motor City Machine Guns are returning next week.
God, yes.
Can't
gonna be
wait.
It's going to be spectacular. All right, so we're just going to breeze over SmackDown because really it was just, DX. I mean, is there anything other than that had to do on SmackDown?
No,
Joe?
not at all. Nothing.
Okay. No. Okay. WrestleMania. It happened. And it was... look,
Master of the obvious, Harrison.
Well, it's hard. Look, we threw this out there. What was your reaction for WrestleMania? And it was all over the board, but everybody had a very distinct impression of what match rocked and what match sucked. And there was no average. No one was talking about the Divas match. But basically it was, Femi Anthony on Twitter said, remove the Undertaker Triple H match and it's all shit. The Rock Cena match was very disappointing. It was anti-climax. Picadillo on Twitter said, aside from what they did to Bryan and Sheamus, I was happy. Taker Triple H was match of the night. Hayes Juge, whatever, on Twitter said Rock's win was unexpected. Rematch incoming. Don't know about that. Didn't trip my trigger. From what I've read, we'll check out the clips in the coming days. Just the musical guests, which are always awful. True. It's been great. If you're not down with that, by the way, we did retweet this when Kilo G said this, and we got a lot of heat from a lot of bloggers and a lot of podcasts because apparently our suggestion and our fan suggestion saying that we liked the pay-per-view and the retweeting of positive tweets was getting on the nerves because apparently it's not hip to like something that WWE is doing.
Of course it's not. Come on. You can't like anything.
No, of course
not. Yeah. And whether it's WWE or TNA, anything
especially
anything they do, you have to hate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, because cynicism begets intelligence is what it is. I mean, it was just like, it was all over the place like this. Chappers on Wrestling Fusion said, I think it was a good Mania overall, just the end sucked in the beginning, put a real downer on the following matches. Everything else, though, delivered. From our Facebook page, Michael said Punk Jericho was a win. Rock literally beating the ever-living shit out of Cena. Everything else was shit. The Cell was average for a Cell match. I'm growing tired of the old guys. Scotty said Jericho and Punk was garbage. So everybody was all over the place as far as what they wanted. But look, let's just go right into it, guys. What at WrestleMania was your moment of the night? Joe.
The Bridge Club. I'm kidding. No, I mean, Punk Jericho is pretty good. I enjoyed it. That and the Cell match. They rank right up there.
Okay. Kevin?
Hell in a Cell. I thought it was the match of the night, and I was really impressed. And how many chair shots did Taker take? I mean, guys, like 43 or whatever. He's like, just give me another one. Like, I mean, damn.
After a while, Taker was just like, hit me again. I dare you.
Yeah. Okay, Rob, what was your moment of the night?
I've got to go Taker Triple H. I can agree that I'm getting tired of seeing guys Triple H and Taker's age fighting, but I ran this match down into the mud, thinking that it wasn't going to be that good, thinking that PG would kill it. All of that stuff. And these guys put on a great match despite all of that stuff. I think Taker taking the year off and focusing solely on this one match, I think really helped him. And, they just beat the ever-living shit out of each other.
I'd agree with that sentiment, Rob, on Taker. But if that's what he needs to do, just to have a good WrestleMania match, he needs to retire. Because this is the only time I think it's acceptable for him to go a whole year without a match, without even being seen. That's bullshit.
That was my point in worrying about this match, was the fact that I think Taker has really reached the end of what his body can do, that he can't wrestle on a regular basis. His body just can't handle it anymore. I think, and now that he's 20-0, now that he's got that, I think he does need to retire.
Okay. Garvin, your moment of the night?
Well, just to go back on that match, I guess my only disappointment with it is the same disappointment that we had with the cage match on Impact a few weeks ago, or maybe it was Victory Road, where it basically had really no impact in the match at all. It was rarely used, and you look at the Hell in the Cell structure as like this, hell, and they spent most of their time inside of the ring. So I thought that was a little strange considering who was in it. But overall, I think moment of the night, I didn't really have one. I think for the most part, I was pretty entertained throughout the entire event. There were things maybe I would have done differently, but I think overall, it was a good show. It was a great show.
Oh, yeah, hands down. It was definitely worth the money. For me, moment of the night, besides Hell in a Cell, because to me, that is a clinic in old school wrestling storytelling inside a ring. I mean, it was very clearly, they didn't go into that match like it wasn't a technical thing, it wasn't a high-flying extravaganza, it wasn't a blood fest, it wasn't a spot fest. It was just, we're going to go in there, the three of us, and we're going to tell you a story within the construct of a wrestling match, and they put on a clinic. I can't imagine any way that could have been better as far as that. Joe, you bring up a really good point. If it takes a year to do this, that's too long, and he should retire. I don't know. Moment of the night for me, as far as what I was most impressed, would have to be when Cena picked up The Rock from the ground, basically deadlifted him, threw him up on his shoulders,
and nailed the attitude. That was awesome.
That was really impressive.
We've seen that before,
right? But the fact that it was just, we've seen it before, but we've seen it early in the match. We haven't seen it late in the match at the end of WrestleMania when these guys are basically adrenaline dumped, and they're
fighting outdoors in Florida heat and humidity. So
yeah, I mean, it was all the factors saying that it was just one of those things where to me, it was just like, that was the one where I went, wow. And then at that moment when Cena was going to do the people's elbow, and he kind of looked out in the ring, and you can just see the look on his face. He's like, well, this is it. I mean, there was just that moment where you saw it, and you can see in his face go, all right, that's the end of this. And then he just does it, and then Rock gets him. I mean, for the 3 count. That was probably a moment of the night for me.
We talk about Cena being like the model company man. That's pretty much where it was. He's looking out at the crowd. He's like, I'm the only fucker in the company who would let this happen. And
you're all gonna hate me for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like Batman. He's not the one we want, but he's the one that we deserve. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna go into it. Chat's getting into it. We got to talk about it. The world title match: Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan for the world championship. 18 seconds is what it was, but they kept saying it was the record. And what was the previous record? It was Kane versus
Chavo
Guerrero, and that went
like 5 seconds.
5 seconds?
5 seconds. It was really short. It was shorter than that. The only reason they fucked it up was somebody rang the bell too early for Sheamus Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, because you could tell that what they wanted to do was they wanted to have it where Daniel Bryan kissed AJ, turned, ring the bell, Sheamus hits him with the bro kick in like 3 seconds.
The record was 8 seconds.
8 seconds, okay. So the record was 8 seconds. They didn't beat it, but they're going to say they did. Everybody hated that match.
I loved it.
You loved it because you were right, is why you loved it.
Mostly, yes, mostly.
It's an interesting turn to see what they're going to do with Daniel Bryan at this point. Obviously they've got the belt on Sheamus now, so they think that he could do probably a good face run. But I don't know, like, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, there's a big turning point for a lot of storylines now. Sheamus, for Daniel Bryan, for AJ. There are things they can branch off of this. That's why I think it's a good thing. Bad thing, it totally crushes Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, but
for a storyline that they didn't spend any time building, this is probably how much. Like, all right, let's make Sheamus the Royal Rumble winner. Okay, should we talk about this match? We gave it 18 seconds, and then it came out, and the match ends up being 18 seconds. So,
yeah, Joe brings up the point of the night. They really did not hype this match at all. They hyped Daniel Bryan and they hyped Sheamus, but they did not hype this match. So as far as payoff, there was none because there was no hype. But this is Jericho. This is Swagger. This is WWE building up. Okay, we gave you everything. Now we're going to take you out of WrestleMania. We're going to bury you and want to see what happens. Can you persevere? Can you rise up? And this is going to be it. I predict within 3 months, we're either going to be talking about Daniel Bryan being the next CM Punk or the next Jack Swagger.
Yeah, and, I think I live tweeted this message. It was, you get what you put in, and they didn't put anything in, so that's what happened.
Yeah, but let's put some onus on the writers as well then for not coming up with jack shit. You've buried 2 guys who were supposed to be your future.
I don't think.
That's ridiculous. Look, 18 seconds is absurd. I was in disbelief that they would do that to the World Heavyweight Championship. Are we looking at finger poke of doom? No, but on a similar level. And you're also looking at the fact that, first of all, both guys deserve better. And second of all, take out a fucking video package, WWE, and have a 5-minute match.
Okay.
The world heavyweight.
Hang on, Rob. Hang on.
Montage. I want to see a match. That's bullshit.
Okay. Kevin basically is giving the point that all of our friends and fans in the live chat in there. Okay, Rob, then Garvin. Rob, go.
Okay. The World Heavyweight title, I don't know why you're surprised about this. The World Heavyweight title is basically the WCW title, which WWE pisses on every chance they get, simply because it used to be the
WCW title.
The WCW title. So I don't know why you're surprised about this. Secondly, they didn't have a lot of time. The writers didn't have enough time to build it up because they were busy building up Triple H versus Undertaker. They were busy building up Rock versus Cena. They were busy building up Punk Jericho. They had all of these other big matches that they had to build up. They simply didn't have time for it.
Okay. Garvin.
Yeah, my only counter is it actually does do some beneficial things. The first thing is it makes a point to show that the bro kick is this dominating move, that one hit by it and, Bryan was down. So it does that. Also, it created a instant reaction at the very beginning of the show. That was a shocker. We went into this thinking that this was going to be one of the matches of the night. It wasn't, but it still was a moment that we all are sitting here reacting to and remembering. It's doing its job, and as we saw later on, it built Bryan pretty well too.
But you're saying it's doing its job. I don't think it's doing its job in a good way.
Well, I think so.
I think it's a negative reaction.
But it is a reaction. You want to know why, Kevin? It's a good thing? Because none of us right now are talking about Orton versus Kane.
That's right. Yes. That's right. I think Garvin's dead on here. I mean, It builds. The match did two things. It builds the bro kick as this dominating move. One hit and you are down. And it helps solidify Daniel Bryan in the heel role. I mean, he was cocky. He didn't even consider Sheamus worth his time. He was dumb enough to turn his back on Sheamus to give AJ a kick. He turns around and Sheamus just kicks the shit out of him. Quite literally, almost. I had no problem with what WWE did there.
I do want to bring up chat saying that they were busy building up Rock, Cena, and Taker Triple H because those are Raw matches. And the World Championship match was a SmackDown match, and the main reason why both shows had their own writers. It's a bad excuse for a crap build and a bad match. I got to be honest, I disagree. I know Kevin is going to disagree with me at the end, but right now, if you want to talk about it, Orton versus Kane was a more traditional WrestleMania match. It was a good match, but we are nobody at all going through all the reaction that we got on Twitter and Facebook, that we called out, that we discussed, that we did everything, nobody sent anything about Orton versus Kane either way. Pro or con.
A title match.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean,
still, we knew the build-up was crap for that too, but you're pissing on the title. There's a difference. And at least they got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, all right. Anyway, Garv, you got one more point? Then we're going to move on to other stuff.
There's been many titles, world titles, WWE titles that have been lost within seconds. This isn't a new thing. At the same time, Hayes Juge in the chat, he said the match did nothing for Bryan. The fans are rallying behind Bryan, and that's it. That's the point. Before, the fans really hadn't made a decision on Bryan. Now they have made a decision. They're rallying behind him, and that is important. If it was just shitting on Bryan and shitting on the title, no one would care. We would just move forward. But obviously the fans are caring, and that's what WWE wanted to see, and they got what they wanted.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because as we're going to talk about on Raw, the crowd in Miami chanted one thing and one thing alone, and they chanted it in both English and Spanish, and that was Daniel Bryan's yes. And Daniel Bryan came out after Raw had ended to cut a promo, and I think that was a massive mistake, because they should have done it on the camera, because the crowd blew to shit. I mean, the entire state. I'm willing to bet there was an earthquake in Florida because that crowd went nuts. But anyway, we're gonna talk about that on Raw. Okay, so we got to move on. Cody Rhodes versus Big Show. Big Show gets the win for the IC Championship. I don't know why I keep saying that. It's like saying ATM machine. Big Show wins, gets the belt. Do you see this being damaging to Cody Rhodes, or do you think that he still has enough fire in him that he can still be a major heel?
I think he still has enough fire in him where he can be a major heel. It's not like Show buried him. It was a hard-fought match. It went back and forth. And at the end of it, Big Show got the win. The commentators did a good job of, making of leaving the wrestlers room to work with it. All in all, I don't think it'll damage Cody Rhodes too much.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think this hurts him at all. In fact, I think he'll be better. He can get in a new feud. I think he's just fine.
Okay, cool. Joe, I don't think he's back yet.
No, I'm here.
Okay, sorry.
No, Daniel Bryan's going to come out strong after looking at that crowd at Raw. So
we're talking about Cody Rhodes.
I'm sorry. I just came back. I apologize.
I know it's cool. Don't worry about it. So Cody Rhodes, do you think he's still got it even though he doesn't have the belt? Do you see him being a major heel going forward?
I think Daniel Bryan is no. Sorry, guys. Cody Rhodes. No, he. I want to see where they're going to go with it. This is like the what the fuck is that called? This is the turning point. That's not the phrase I was looking for, but it could go either way. It's his tipping point here. I mean, I really hope he's going to excel and get toward the main event. I'm hoping WWE is going to put more faith in their younger guys right now.
Exactly. This is the Cody Rhodes tipping point. We'll look back at WrestleMania and say that was the moment when that was the Austin 316 moment. We're going to look back at that, and that's going to be the genesis. Okay, just two more matches I want to talk about because the GM thing that really had only implications for Raw. We already talked about Hell in a Cell. CM Punk versus Chris Jericho for the WWE Championship. Chris Jericho did not win. I mean, when that happened, I still do, and I will continue to say, biggest mistake of the night.
I don't know if that's the biggest mistake of the night. I mean, granted, my vote was to go to Jericho because I wanted to see a longer program with these guys. And it looks like we're still going to possibly get that, but I don't get how Jericho keeps losing makes a good program.
Exactly.
There were bigger mistakes of the night made than Jericho losing, but
if you say Cena losing, dear God, I will come to Chicago and slap the shit out of you.
I think that was a mistake.
It wasn't a bigger mistake, though.
Then Jericho
slap the shit out of you.
Yeah, it was.
Live chat said it the best. Jericho's comeback is a letdown. I'm going to go into it more in my fail. Spoiler alert, that's my fail of the week, is Jericho's comeback. But I'm going to go into it more in my fail, but I'm not going to say anything more about it. We tweeted Jericho, worst return ever. Given how things are going, I mean, can you say no to that?
Yeah, I can.
End of the world, a.k.a. end of his career. Like, it seems like he's turning it right down the shitter.
I just don't know what they're doing. It just, and then, I mean, we're getting a little bit ahead, but what they did on Raw was part of maybe what they should have had the build-up be for the match, because that was actually good. I don't know. It just seems lost to me. It seems like they're like in the middle of like Texas, and there's like a crossroads and like three sides. They're like, okay, we'll go on this one now. I don't know. Like it's really just like they're like just winging.
Is Texas the only place where you have those three-way crossroads, Kevin, or did you just pick Texas randomly?
I just picked Texas randomly.
Things have more gravitas when you say they're Texan.
That's right.
Okay.
Everything's bigger in Texas, even the metaphors.
Here's why I don't think it was a problem. First of all, you have John Laurinaitis saying, "Oh, by the way, I'm adding a stipulation where if you get disqualified, you lose the title." And Jericho spent half the match trying to get CM Punk to lose his temper. Spent half of the match trying to get CM Punk to get disqualified. It was one of those storytelling matches. So really the loss is kind of to be expected because the bigger story is that CM Punk was able to focus and stay focused on the match and everything. And you can still continue the feud between these two and maybe have Jericho win some other way down the road, especially now that Laurinaitis is in charge.
Okay. All right. Well, here we are. Main event of the night, John Cena versus The Rock. It was a year build-up. It happened. Rock won. What do you guys think of the match? What do you think of the build-up to it? And what do you think about the implications of Rock winning? Aside from Raw. I mean, did the match deliver? Was it a good match?
No.
I don't think so either.
The Rock was nowhere close to being in shape or in ring shape. He looked old. He looked slow. He was constantly trying to catch his breath. There were more than a few times you could hear him talking to Cena about what move was coming up next. That to me was the most amusing part of the match. Was there's one point in particular that they were locking up, and you can hear Rock say, "You want DDT?" And it's like, and then like about 2 minutes after that, Rock
Mother
finally
Russia, DDT wants you.
And then about 2 minutes later, he hits the DDT. It was just, God, it was bad. And I don't know what the hell WWE was thinking by letting Rock win. They damaged Cena. They did a decent amount of damage to Cena by doing it. And I think the moment of that match was what we were talking about earlier, right before Cena tries to do the people's elbow. He just looks out at the crowd like, God damn, here it comes.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'll give you that, they did some damage to the Cena character. But at this point, what's left to do but tear him down so that they can build him back up? I mean,
exactly.
They're on a good run of tearing him down right now. Like, they can keep going down, and he's still with this character. I mean, look at his monologue on Raw. He's talking about how he never thought about losing. He's never going to give up. He never did give up, but he lost. If they keep with this attitude, his character is going to get more and more and more frustrated, and something's going to happen, and that's going to be the turning point for the Cena character.
Yeah, you can kind of, Joe's right, you can kind of see that they're building, especially after Raw, you can kind of see that they're building towards something. And it's very interesting because it seems like even before Cena versus Rock, they weren't building Cena towards anything. He was just like, he's the guy on top, everyone's coming at him. It was king of the mountain type of mentality. Let's throw guys at him and watch him fail. But now it's like, and then what happened on Raw, which we'll get into later, it seems like they are building him towards something interesting. Okay, Kev?
Yeah, I got to really echo what Rob said. Rock's moveset looked terrible. I saw a lot of punches.
I'm sorry. The hulking up in the middle of the STF. I mean, Is it 1989 all of a sudden?
Yeah.
I mean, when his arm went down, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
If it's still 1989, I'm looking for ice cream bars.
The really big ones, right? The big king-size ones that they don't sell anymore? Yes, thank you.
Warrior imprinted on them.
Yep. All right. Anyway, Kevin, sorry.
That's right. Near the end of the match, Rock looked really gassed. A year build up, it just didn't work. I mean, when the music hit for both of them, I was pumped, but then the match started, and I was just like, nope.
Okay, Kev, you watch a lot of MMA with me. You think an adrenaline dump?
Maybe.
Big show. First time he comes back to WrestleMania, huge crowd. It just because it happened to it's happened to so many guys.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but
caught Mayhem Miller out.
No, I don't want to go that far. I think it just was more than that, personally.
Okay, real quick to close out before I'm gonna have some more fan reaction, and then we're going to move on. Better close from the live chat. Cena versus Rock, or what the live chat is saying, which is the end of an era with the three-way hug should have closed WrestleMania. Do you think it should have been Cena Rock or that?
It should have been Triple H, the end of an era. Triple H, HBK, and Taker.
Okay. Joe, you agree?
Sorry, I was muted. God, I'm a mess today.
It's okay.
I think both the opinions that have already been stated are false. I think Rock Cena, with all the build-up they put into it, had to be the last thing. I think the big hug, is what hurts that match, the end of an era match. But I think that there was nothing they could have done but that match for the end.
See, the thing is, the three-way hug I don't think hurts it because it's the only way you could have possibly ended that match without any implication of a rematch, and just that is the only way to end it to where at WrestleMania it ended. Basically, Triple H came back. He said, you know what, I can beat you. I tried last time and I failed, but I could do it this time. And, Taker said, no, you can't. You were weighed and measured and found wanting. And then at the end, they're like, all right, well, at least you tried. Let's all move on. It wasn't like you can't. There's no rematch. Nothing. It was just that's the only way you can end it and have it be ended right then and there.
Exactly. If there's any ending other than that, then people start talking. Oh, we're going to see Triple H and Taker 3.
Yeah, it'll be the third time's the charm, and then it'll be 20-1, or whatever. Anyway, in chat saying, if anything, the pay-per-view was an end of an era, which I don't know. I think we that one was a weird one. I think WrestleMania, as far as this one goes, you saw a lot of mix of old and new, which kind of made for an interesting show. All right, some more. Moving on to some fan reaction, and then we're gonna go into Raw. Nicholas on Facebook said wins for him were Taker and Triple H. Punk and Jericho. The fail was the World Heavyweight Championship, and Maria Menounos. Whatever. Match involving the Divas champion being well and truly buried. She didn't even get her own ring entrance. That's a really good point. The GM match turning into a poor Raw angle. Also a good point. Jay said Punk Jericho was his win, his fail. Once again, world title match. Still has his bad taste in his mouth. And Brian Sheamus got dicked over 2 years in a row. That is, well, I don't know about Sheamus getting dicked over 2 years in a row.
Yeah, him and Daniel Bryan was supposed to be on the card, and it got bumped to the pre-show.
Oh, that's right. That was last year. Huh. Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah. So maybe next year they'll bring the house down, hopefully. And Jonathan said his win was Triple H all once again. Jared Troll and CM Punk. His fail was everything that happened in the first hour, and Brodus Clay with his mama, Tyler Perry jokes. The whole Brodus Clay thing, I'm with Jonathan on this. He said it seriously made him wonder how racially insensitive it was. He wouldn't call it out, but it felt uncomfortable. And yeah, I was in that same situation where I'm like, we're getting really close to the line here. And Jacob said his win was Taker, Triple H, and HBK all walking out of the ring together, and fail once again, Sheamus and Daniel Bryan. And I think the big thing about the fail, Kevin's opinion aside with the title thing, is that we have two phenomenal talents in Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, and I think like all of our fans and friends are all agreeing that this is a lot of potential that we're not seeing. This is a potential, match of the night on WrestleMania that we're not going to get because WWE is content to just bury it or move on. Do you guys agree with that?
It's a lot of talent. I mean, along those lines, you're talking about, like I said, you're talking about what's supposed to be the future of the company. So,
do they deserve like an epic long match style? Yeah, they probably do. But at the same point in time, a long match doesn't necessarily make a good match. If you want an example of this, see Rock versus Cena. Just because you're given a lot of time doesn't necessarily mean it's a good match. I think Sheamus gets. I mean, look at it. Sheamus got the title, and he got a huge push for his finishing move, and he got all of that in about 30 seconds of work.
Yeah, exactly. You can't beat it. Yeah, you can't beat it.
Do you think Sheamus should have went down to the ring in like jeans and a t-shirt instead?
He just shows up. He comes out with a hot dog and a soda.
Exactly.
And a potato.
And a potato.
Yes.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a Sheamus match without Joe's potato joke like on Sunday. All right, so that was it. Year of pay-per-view predictions. For a while there, at the beginning, Joe was winning. For a long time, I was in the lead. Then I had to play prevent defense, and it did not work out because the man of the hour, Tower of Power, just too sweet to be sour, the winner of our pay-per-view predictions from last year, coming from behind like he always does, Rob.
Hello.
The advantage to coming from behind is your enemy doesn't see you kill them.
Or your mom.
Or your mom, yeah.
Or your mom.
I was going to say, dude, you should try missionary instead of just always going from the back. Sometimes a little tenderness helps.
Rob got 10 pay-per-view predictions. Kevin, Joe, and I all tied at 8 wins. Garvin got 2, and then Scott, Mike, they all had theirs. We're going to be changing things up for the next year. We're going to be counting individual matches this time instead of pay-per-views. It should be more consistent, and then it's going to be averaged, or we're still working out behind the scenes, but it's going to be interesting to see. Rob, you deserve it, buddy. You got it. It wasn't even TNA that took you. I mean, WrestleMania, you went wall to wall with only one mistake. Yeah, Rock versus Cena. Otherwise, you went wall to wall.
Yeah, Rock versus Cena was the only match I got wrong. And I forgot my own rule for that. The celebrity always wins. And Rock's a celebrity now. He's not a wrestler.
Yep. Okay, so that was WrestleMania 28. If anything, indication WrestleMania 29 should be even bigger and bolder. Okay, now moving on to Raw in Miami. Kevin, I'm just going to ask you one simple question. Was that or was that not the Raw of the year?
Probably. I mean, that was balls to the wall. And to be honest, most Raws after a pay-per-view, I like to cut them a little slack. I really will cut them some slack after the biggest of the year, and they just freaking brought it. I mean, really not much else to say. Let's start it off. Santino, Swagger, Ziggler, triple threat match that was really good.
Well, no, hang on. Rock's promo at the beginning. I mean, you got to talk about that.
Rock's promo at the beginning, I thought it was very well done, particularly the way that he, congratulated Cena, and he also talked about that, he wants to get the title back. Kind of interesting. We'll see where it goes. If Rock is coming back for a more extended stay, we thought this was going to be it, but I don't know. I don't see it. But then again, I was wrong about something obviously later in the show that we'll get to. So hey, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But he's discussing wanting the title back, so we'll see there. Triple threat match: Swagger, Ziggler, Santino, which was really good. And then Brodus came out for the save after the match. They were trying to attack him, so maybe Brodus and Swagger, Brodus and Ziggler, maybe. So we'll have to see there. We finally have the debut of Lord Tensai, or Albert, I believe.
Yeah, it's
A-Train.
A-Train, yeah.
Yeah. It didn't look bad. I always like
needed more.
I always like seeing people kick the crap out of A-Rai, but
no, you got to admit though, it needed more production value. I mean, Sakara, it didn't need the blue lights of Sin Cara, but it could have used some pyro or some smoke or something.
I think you're talking about the actual match. No, I agree. I was,
hey, it had salt.
Could have used a little something.
Yeah, it had salt. But
like the Japanese samurai angle kind of thing that they had going on there.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you saw Albert shorn like that? Like, there was no body hair. When's the last time you saw Albert with no body hair? He looked like he used to wear a black shirt to the ring. That's how bad.
Yeah.
Whoever his electrolysis person is, they did a great job.
They did not get paid enough.
They nared the fuck out of that man. That's what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually, Joe's got a point. I mean, usually Albert is about the closest we have to a real live Wookiee.
Yeah. The man is a giant bear. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so, Kev, so Henry defeating Punk and then Jericho pouring a bottle of Jack with, pouring one out for his homies.
Yeah, plus busts one over his head. I like I said, I thought that was some of the build-up maybe they should have had for the actual WrestleMania match, but
okay, no, did anybody else think that was a sugar bottle, or did they think that was a real glass bottle?
No, it shattered way too early. You could even see it on camera.
Okay.
Filled with tea.
Yeah. But even still, I mean, the effect was good, and the way they did it, I thought was good. I just wish it was built up for the actual match. I don't know. Kofi defeats Cody Rhodes after Big Show intervenes and shows a video of Cody losing.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
We turned the tables on him. But
I'm
interested to see how many more legs this thing has. I don't think it's got many.
Miz continues his role of winning by defeating Ryder. Pretty good match there, too. And then the Cena promo happens, which I thought it was a good promo, and then I think we've gotten to what everybody wants to talk about and what I personally was wrong about, and that's fine. I'll go ahead and man up in a minute. The one and only Brock Lesnar has returned.
Yeah.
The crowd, I don't know what the word is besides erupted. I mean, I haven't heard a reaction like the last reaction I can remember being that loud was CM Punk in Chicago for the Punk John Cena match for the title.
I would say that Rock's debut might have equaled it, but only because the thing about this crowd at Miami, usually you have to go to Madison Square Garden or, like you said, Chicago to find a crowd this heavy, this crowd came to play, is what they did. Everything swung WWE's way. At the same time, how many of those people have flown in specifically for this event? They're going to be in a good mood. They were probably at WrestleMania as well. So it's party atmosphere. They're in Miami. They're probably drunk off their minds.
Yeah, but it didn't matter on the segment or the match. You heard Daniel Bryan chants and yes
the entire night.
He had something going there. That was insane. And then
in Spanish too, when ADR was cutting a promo, people were shouting "C." It was amazing. Is what it was. It was amazing to see.
Now,
go ahead, Rob.
Real quick, listening to that reaction about how solidly the crowd got behind Daniel Bryan. I just want to pose the question to people, both our fans and you guys here. You still think that WWE screwed up by burying Bryan?
No, I don't. I think that because of that, he's catching much more fire. I mean, he's got more fire behind him at this point with the fans.
See,
right. That crowd's any indication. I mean, Daniel Bryan is set right now.
No, the thing is, I don't think they buried him. I think they were planning to bury him, but after Raw, Daniel Bryan came out and cut a promo and tore the place down. And I think that was WWE going, oh, we cannot let this slide. We got to do something. Send him out there and see what happens. And the place just blew up. And you can see it on YouTube. We have it on our Facebook page. The place just blew up. And I have no doubt, as of right now, the Daniel Bryan abusing AJ storyline is dead. And WWE Creative is probably at the moment furiously building a program for this guy to get him to Survivor Series, because you do not leave that alone. This is so much different than the broski chants and everything for
it is not in a way it's not seriously different. It's a very similar thing. It's the fans
just bigger
out. It's just it was just more intense in Miami. And if you guys want to see how much longer this went on, there's video from a fan outside the arena as people are leaving, and all you hear are chants of yes.
We posted both of those videos on our Facebook page.
Yeah,
yes.
You can check them out. It's yes. We
did. But yeah, I mean, and then you fucking turn around, the crowd's chanting, "We want Lesnar," so the crowd knew he was there.
Oh, they yeah, you had no doubt. And WWE actually tweeted, whatever. I want to say about a minute and a half, 2 minutes before Lesnar actually debuted, by saying he's in the building, and that's when the chants intensified.
It was just great. I mean, I'll go out and say I didn't want to. I made a comment on Saturday that I didn't want to see Lesnar back for the simple fact of his, what was it, Kevin?
Diverticulitis.
Thank you.
You are so proud that you know exactly how to say that, aren't you, Kev?
No,
I'm a walking encyclopedia of useless information. So yes.
But I marked out. I'm not gonna lie. I was so excited.
Yeah, out of all the rumors that we talked about during the pre-show, and when we were sitting there waiting for things to happen, on WrestleMania and whatnot, that by far was the one moment that I was hoping would happen, that Lesnar would return, just because of the idea.
Yeah,
of him coming
I mean, the Lesnar thing is awesome because look how much draw UFC got, and they're like, "Holy crap! A WWE guy's coming in." And everybody wanted to see him get his ass kicked, and he goes and wins the title in 3 matches.
Yeah.
Now he's bringing that UFC cred back to the WWE.
Yeah, it's a feedback loop, and Lesnar. You got to worry about the dive, whatever he's got. You got to worry about that, because if he takes too bad of a bump, that can mess him up. So I don't know what. I'm cautiously optimistic. I marked out a little bit, but I look at it and I go, "You're coming back because you were injured in another sport. I don't see you doing a bi-weekly program."
Well, he wasn't injured in another sport. Let's be honest.
He couldn't compete in UFC because the intestine thing.
If I got into a car accident, does that mean I got injured in baseball? No. This is a parasite thing, man.
He couldn't compete because of it. So
and
now he's coming.
Aggravated. It kept getting aggravated by taking shots to his chest. That's why he kept him out of competing. I'm completely with Harrison.
And Overeem lit his ass up
on a weekly or bi-weekly basis.
Yeah,
getting beat to hell. I don't understand this for Lesnar. I completely understand it on Vince's end. I don't understand what Lesnar has to prove or why he wants to come back. I think he's risking serious injury here, and it can't be about the money.
Maybe it can, though. Maybe because of his early retirement from the UFC, there's a contract obligation that he's needing the money. That being said, his contract's a heavier one than what Rock signed last year, because he's got 30 dates in one year.
Yeah.
With the option to add more if he allows WWE to add more, but still, depending on what they do with him, it could be an easier paycheck.
Right, and another thing to think of too is I can see why Lesnar would come back, because as big a fan base as he had before he jumped and went to UFC, there was a lot of similar circumstances with like what we were talking about, The Rock. A lot of fans were upset and had the impression that Lesnar turned his back on the WWE to go to the UFC. There were a lot of people. There are more than a few fans who think he was overrated in the WWE. So he could be just saying, "Okay, now after everything I've done here in mixed martial arts, I'm going to come back to pro wrestling, and I'm going to show you guys that I am the real deal."
I do want to bring up to the the money thing. Hang on a second. What's her face?
Dixie
we shared it on our Facebook page. No, we shared it on our Facebook page. What's her face? Yeah, Medusa got a royalty check from the WWE, and it was like what $600,000? No, it wasn't that much.
300,000.
Yeah,
3 months.
Yeah, for 3 months. And you got to think that was mostly due to DVD appearances. Is really where she made most of her money. So you got to think if Lesnar comes back, 30 dates, he gets his name and he gets his picture on 6 or 7 things. He's looking at royalty checks for a very long time. So I think as far as that goes, I could totally see him coming back for the money for that reason. Do you want to bring up from the live chat, pointed out, anybody else think that Cena looked pissed when the crowd was chanting, we want Lesnar? Or was it... Does anybody think Cena was like, you know what, just shut up and let me get through this? Because at one point he did actually say, shut up and let me get through this. Well, not so many words, but...
Well, I think that was only because...
His promo.
Yeah, that, and he knew it was coming, so he's like, fucking, god damn it, like, why you gotta ruin the surprise?
No, I think it has... Oh, no, go on, Rob.
He did... he did look a little perturbed, but I don't know if it was like him being pissed off about that, or if it was just a case of him of what we saw last night. You know, the look he had on his face. He's like, okay, goddamn, I'm about to lose to The Rock. Here we go. And, you know, he's listening to the crowd chant, and he's like, you know, I don't even get through my promo. I'm just fine. Bring him out here, have him kick my ass now too. You know, I think it would be more frustration than anything. Just, you know, just him kind of, you know, the Batman thing that you made reference to earlier. Just like, let's get this over with.
The chat is complaining that WWE tweeted right before Lesnar came out. Garvin wants to point out though. You do want to, if you tweet 30 to 60 seconds before it happens, people will tune in. The problem is they didn't tweet Brock Lesnar. They didn't drop the name. They just said, look who's in the building right now. And then they linked to a picture that they posted of Brock Lesnar. So it wasn't like anybody who was on Twitter or anybody who has like a thing that messages them whenever something happens with Brock Lesnar is going to get that. So, you know, I can see the point. And brings up a good point. Look what happened when WCW announced Mankind's title win.
Oh, yeah. God, and Tony Schiavone. Oh, that'll put asses in the seats.
Yep.
Yeah.
For years afterwards, you saw fans in WWE holding up signs, fully put my ass in the seat. the WWE fans never let Tony Schiavone hear the end of it.
Yep. Okay. So I do gotta, man, I'm gonna get hell for this. I do gotta say, I think Cena was pissed off. I think basically he looked at it going, I put in a year's worth of work. You're gonna boo me. The crowd booed him, hated everything he said. He knew, like we were saying, The Rock looked gassed. I don't think anybody knew that better than Cena. I think he was looking at it like, we went through a year of this. You had a year to prepare. This is what you bring. I mean, this is shit. I mean, he's like, look, and Cena's like, look, I mean, say what you want about him. The guy loves what he does, and he works for it. And Rock just sent on his ass. I mean, even promo work near the end, it was just blah. And I think now Cena's like, I got to come out here. I got to get out here. I got to have the crowd booing me, saying yes constantly over everything I say. And at the end of this, Brock Lesnar's going to come out, give me an F5, and then you're going to cheer that. I mean, I really think it was getting to him. I think he's like, I'm having a shitty couple days.
You make a good point.
You make a really good point, Harrison. That's true.
I mean, looking at WrestleMania, it's clear that Cena did what he always did, worked his ass off, both in promo work and making sure he was in ring shape. And The Rock just half-assed it, both in promo work and in the ring. He just phoned it in.
Yeah.
And if
I don't want to go that far. I just think we just saw 4 years more worth of ring rust. I mean, what are we talking here? A long time, a long ass time.
Yeah, at least 5 years.
Yeah. Chat saying that they think the yes and Daniel Bryan chants got to him before the We Want Lesnar chants did. Absolutely, and also the like the chat said, you're a loser chants couldn't have set well with him either. Yeah, I think he was just having he had to have known what was going to happen. He did it anyway, and he's going to get no credit from the fans. The crowd's going to hate him, and meanwhile, he put over The Rock, who's going after the belt, and Lesnar in one night. And it's like, he's company through and through, but I'm sure he was just like, I just want this over with. I just want to get this over with and move on. All right, final thoughts on...
It's particularly, you're probably right, because it's particularly for a guy that he doesn't like in The Rock. So.
Yes, The Rock. And who knows if he really likes Brock Lesnar at all.
Really good point, Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what the situation between them and Lesnar's like, so I know Lesnar wasn't exactly easy to get along with backstage, so final thoughts on Raw before we move on to questions from the fans?
Nope.
Cool. Not. All right. You could have just said no, guys. Dead air is shit air. Just remember that. Okay.
It's Harrison Air.
It's Harrison Air. As always, if there's anything I do, it is I do not leave an awkward silence. I talk way too much on the show. As always, you can ask us questions by emailing questions at ftwpodcast.com or send us a tweet to @FTWpodcast using the hashtag AskFTW and post to our Facebook wall at facebook.com/FTWpodcast. From Adam Pro 123. Basically, with big shows, IC Championship win last night. He has now won all the major. Get this, all the major WWE, ECW, WCW championships. He's got the US championship, the IC, the WWE belt, the WCW tag team champion. The guy's got every gold. He basically says he doesn't think of any of the wrestlers that can say they held all those titles, but he's basically asking what happens from here. Do we get a long IC title reign from Show? And when it happens, who defeats him? Do you see Show holding the belt for very long? Joe?
I don't think so. I think you got 2 months.
So 2 months from Joe, Rob?
Yeah, I'll say that. Maybe 2-3 months. Just enough for WWE to make the win at WrestleMania worth it and build up Big Show a little bit, and then they pass it off to one of the younger guys.
Okay. Kevin?
Yeah, I'm with everybody else. I don't see it being anything real long, couple of months.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta say, I want him to have it for a while, but at the same time, I mean, it's the IC Championship. I mean, this guy, he's had it forever. Hugo Boss on Twitter said, after last night, WWE continued to push Daniel Bryan or treat him like they have Ryder. Some logic doesn't work in WWE. The guy is over with the crowds. You guys agree? Do you think that they're going to basically continue to push him or treat him like they've been doing with Ryder, where basically we'll keep you in the mid card, you just kind of stay there?
If you keep getting reactions like you had last night, they won't have any choice.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think they can do something really good here. I mean, we've complained, especially on SmackDown, that there's a lack of good faces. This would seem to be a perfect time for Daniel Bryan to come out on SmackDown and say, you know what, I let my title reign get to my head. I became a little bit of an ass. I didn't treat my girlfriend the way I should have. And he can really make a good face turn out of this. And then the WWE can thrust him right back into main storylines. And I think that's what I would like to see happen. And I think that's probably what they're going to do. Like you said, Harrison, I think the writers are like, okay, yeah, everything we had planned for Bryan, that's done. We got to get to work on something new because the crowd is really behind this guy.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Chat's saying if Daniel Bryan keeps getting reactions like this, it'll be huge. But they think it's possible that it's just the Miami crowd.
We'll have to see in the coming weeks, though. We'll have to see if this catches fire.
Yeah, I don't know. I think yes has just become the new what.
Yeah, and in the internet age, there's really no such thing as just the Miami crowd.
Yeah,
WWE fans see that stuff on YouTube. They see it while they're watching Raw, and all of a sudden they're like, well, I should get behind this guy too.
Yeah.
It's mob mentality.
And the other thing is, all those people that were in Miami, how many of them flew back home?
Right.
To where WWE tours. So, yeah. Ian asked, with WWE programming bringing back Lesnar, do you think TNA needs to bring in someone to get the ratings up? Sort of like a giant guy arms race. Anybody think that?
Not at all. I think TNA needs to keep doing what they're doing.
I agree. They've done so many things right lately. I think that would be a big mistake to mess with what's working. Joe hit it right on the head.
Well, let's resident TNA expert Rob, real quick.
Yeah, definitely. TNA's already got everything that they need. There's no need to bring in anybody else. They've got everybody that they need.
Okay. After Rock's segment on Raw, where he said he wanted to be WWE champion again, Bryan said, if you're over the age of 35 or main evented in a pay-per-view in the year 2000, you don't need the WWE title in 2012. Fact. That's a really good point. Anybody disagree? I mean, come on. The Rock's... Why does he need to come back and get the belt?
Because, as they pointed out and made sure to point out during the match, Cena's had the championship like 12 times. Rock's only had it 9 times, so he needs at least once more to get into the double-digit range. It's bullshit. I don't think Rock needs the title anymore, especially if he's going to continue to half-ass shit. But I can see that being WWE's logic.
Okay. Anybody disagree?
Oh, I could see Rock coming back and getting another title, but he's going to have to put in more work. For that, hey, the old guy still got it kind of thing.
Yeah, and on Joe's point, Chad just brought up, really, to supplement it, Hulk Hogan did come back for a final title run in 2003. So it's not unprecedented. It is a good point. I mean, yeah, he did headline it. He did, main event a pay-per-view in 12 years ago. But I don't know. I mean, I would say if he still got it, great. From what I saw leading up to WrestleMania, I don't think so. And chat brought up a really good point. If you had the belt in 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, you do not need the belt once again in 2012. Basically, Cena had the belt every single year since 2004. So, I guess that's a good point. They're not going to not give him the belt. Cripplewitz on Twitter basically asked, do you think UFC is better because it's not fake? First off, wrestling is not fake. It's storylined. Huge difference. You know what? I'm going to weigh on this last. Anybody? Do you think UFC is better?
Depends on what you like. I don't think UFC's better, but I still enjoy UFC.
Yeah, it's not better. It's just different.
Yeah,
right.
exactly it. It's
Right. I'm a huge MMA fan. I would agree with you guys totally. It's not better. It's different. Like Harrison said, there's a big difference between storyline and fake.
But here's the thing, though, you have to remember. I would argue that while WWE is storylined, a lot more drama in UFC. I mean, look, we keep saying no. Hang on, we keep saying they're different, but really they're not. I mean, look, UFC and WWE both run by dickish owners who have a great Machiavellian heads up their own asses type of mentality. They both like to showcase main event talent and ram it down your throat to the point that you just get absurdly pissed off. They both love Brock Lesnar, and I think honestly, I tweeted this last night. I would love to have been in the room with Dana White when Lesnar walked out on Raw.
Oh yeah, he probably pissed himself.
I feel very bad for Dana White's family. And
he had to know at that point. He had to know that that's where Lesnar's going because it's been brought up so many times.
Yeah, I know, but
Dana's got bones at this point. He can play off that all the way.
Yeah, I know, but still, just see it though. I mean, you know your girlfriend's cheating. You know she's been sleeping around. To actually walk in on a guy, that's something completely different. 3 months, basically, chat saying 3 months of hype for what could be 30 seconds MMA in a nutshell. Excellent point. Kind of look at the Overeem Lesnar's last match. Overeem just tenderized him like a freaking steak. Dana White on Twitter saying that he was happy for Brock. Yeah, I know Dana White said he was happy for Brock, but, you knew when Brock announced his retirement at the end of that match, the camera kind of panned over on Dana, and then they stopped showing him, and he was out the door. Because you knew he was right on the phone with his lawyers right afterwards. He may say he's happy for Brock, he's not.
Right.
He wants Brock. Brock was a money printing machine.
I mean, Dana White, he's smart enough not to say, Brock Lesnar's a fucking dick, and I'm going to sue his ass for everything he's worth.
Screw you freak! We're better off without you! Yeah, that's not happening. I think Dana White saying happy things about Brock is just leaving the door open for UFC's, what's the reality show they got?
Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah, Ultimate Fighter. Have Lesnar coach on one of those.
Yeah, I'm with Harrison. I think he's trying to leave the door open for whatever he can get it, which eventually may happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see. You can't stay in WWE forever. Anyway, well, regardless where you fall on the UFC and pro wrestling bandwagon, we can all agree it's better than boxing.
Anything's better than boxing at this point.
I hate boxing.
Yeah. They've just...
It sucks.
They're
so bad.
They're so stone age, like with their
We're gonna
thoughts and development of anything. Oh wow, it's just terrible.
It's like watching your parents talk about It's like your parents listening to AM radio all the time. It's like you don't know there's an iPod. All right, you guys ready for quick hits?
Quick
Hits. All right, everybody, it's time for quick hits. For you guys news of the show. Each one of us is going to get 30 seconds to sound off on a news topic, and afterwards we'll scream at each other for a little bit if there's time, which I highly doubt because we have been running way long on this WrestleMania talk. As noted before, TNA wanted WWE to mention them in the Hall of Fame ceremony in return for allowing Ric Flair to appear for the Four Horsemen. Ooh, Four Horsemen induction, whatever. WWE turned down that request, but reportedly agreed to another one. Basically, a WWE talent appearing on a TNA DVD. Details are sketchy, and right now, details are sketchy right now, but TNA wanted a WWE wrestler to come to their studio as a talking head and speak on one of their DVD releases. TNA asked for this in exchange for allowing Flair to appear on the WrestleMania 28 DVD. Question for you guys. Who is it? Joe.
Booker T.
Wow.
That's my best guess. I mean,
that's a good one.
Who else is there that had been involved with TNA and is now in the WWE?
Christian.
Oh. Nope, I got a better one. I got a better one. Rob, you're saying Christian?
No, I'm answering Joe's question of who else in the WWE has been with TNA. Christian.
Okay. Kevin.
Yeah, this is tough. Booker T is a is a good choice. Yeah, I don't know. That Booker T makes a lot of sense. So I'll agree with Joe.
Okay. Mine, Mick Foley.
Didn't even think about him.
Me
Shit.
too.
I gotta be honest. If anybody you want on there, as far as DVD, Mick Foley, and I think the DVD would be that's who I'm thinking. But I really like Booker T. Okay, so chat also two really good points. R-Truth and Nash. Although Nash really Ric Flair for Nash. Nah, that's like no.
Trading $100 in for
It's like trading
$5
giant
car.
douche for a turd sandwich.
No, I was gonna say that's like trading Peyton Manning for Anyway, no Nash. R-Truth, no, not really. Truth, although Garvin brings up the point, Truth did win the world title, so.
And don't forget Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, Dusty Rhodes.
Because he was big in the creative at the beginning of TNA.
That's true.
Yeah, so there are some names, no real big talent, but I think Dusty Rhodes would be a good one. But I gotta say, Dusty Rhodes, Booker T, or maybe Mick Foley. It depends what the DVD's about. Anyway, from the live chat, Jacob asked if Taker versus Lesnar and Austin versus Punk are the two main events next year. Which one do you think would end the show? Assuming for WrestleMania 29, Joe.
I don't know. I'm going to say Taker Lesnar.
Okay, Kevin.
I'll say Austin and Punk. I think they could build that better, and I think they would see that as the better match. Austin, I think, is, if you had to pick, and I know we're splitting hairs, but if you had to pick, I think Austin would be the bigger icon than Taker. Believe me, I know I'm splitting hairs here, and we could debate that all day long. We could debate that all day long. That's why I'm trying to squash that right now. Thank you, Rob. But that's my personal opinion. I would take Austin versus Punk.
Okay, Rob.
I say Taker versus Lesnar. After the Rock Cena match, when you look at the fact that Rock left to become a Hollywood star, Austin was forced into retirement by injury. If I were in creative, I'm not sure how good shape Austin could get into. Taker versus Lesnar is a safer bet.
That's exactly it. We were talking about it in the WrestleMania pre-show that we did last Saturday. I was the one who said I don't think Austin should come back because, like Rob said, how many more bumps can those knees take? If Taker versus Lesnar is the main event, I predict Taker either loses or retires. Chat's mixed on it, apparently. They're saying that it could be either or, but I can't imagine Austin. Like Rob said, that's dangerous. Mr. Lucho Libre on Twitter said, now that Mania is over, once again, it's time to speculate who will face Taker next year. Who should it be? Well, I know the obvious answer. Rob?
Kane.
Ooh, Kane. Okay. Joe?
Michelle McCool.
Oh.
In the battle of the whose turn is it to do the dishes match.
I was heavily leaning towards the Boogeyman, but I think your comic answer is better, Joe.
It's either going to be that or Mordecai.
Mordecai.
Remember the White Taker?
Yeah, they'd really have to dig deep for that one. Who played that?
That was the guy who was Kevin Thorne on ECW.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. Kevin.
I think it should be Kane. I think they could do way too much build-up and good build-up for that. So it makes too much sense. Sometimes go with the thing that makes sense. I'd say Jericho.
Yeah, Jericho. Kane would be really good. I've gone on record saying the storyline purposes Kane. I don't know. Everyone's saying Lesnar because of the fact that these two don't like each other and the run-in they had after Lesnar's one match, that loss. I don't know. Maybe HBK comes out of retirement to put Taker back into retirement. That's always a possibility. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We got a year worth of speculation ahead of us. Robert,
it's funny. It's just real quick. It's funny you mentioned Lesnar
Sure.
because that's the one I don't want to see because
Right?
there's absolutely no way Lesnar can win. There is no way Taker would go for that.
Yeah,
He would
Taker.
walk out for the match.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's the reason I don't want to see that.
I want to say Brock was originally in the list of people that Taker actually wanted to beat the streak.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I'm just saying
not
he
like
was in that list at one point.
No, I think whoever beats the streak has to be someone that Taker respects, and I think those two people, it's got to be Kane and HBK, and HBK's retired. So anyway, well here, now that Hulk Hogan now that Hulk Hogan is now that Hulk Hogan is TNA GM, what should he do to make TNA even better? Rob.
I think the biggest thing he can do right now is keep the current storylines going. Pick up where Sting left off. Just make life miserable for Bobby Roode and just say, okay, today you're taking on face number one. You know, whether it's Austin Aries, whether it's I don't care who you pick, whether it's James Storm, Mr. Anderson, who you pick.
Right.
Just start throwing a number of faces in Bobby Roode's way. Also start giving Bully Ray a legitimate shot at maybe getting into the title picture too.
Okay. Joe? You with the chat?
I think... See, it's just tough. Hogan... Part of me says just say, thanks for the opportunity. Peace out, fuckers. I don't know. I think if they make a push to make Dixie Carter a prominent, strong character again, if he can lend his push for that I think would probably be one of the best things he could do for TNA.
Okay. Kevin?
What can Hogan do to make TNA better as GM? Retire!
That's what the chat's saying.
Dude.
Not that hard. I've only said it for years. Hang it up, buddy.
I'm with Joe. I really like the idea. I was originally going to say, I was with the chat, bring back six-sided ring. You'd have instant pop for that. But now I'm with Joe. I think they really need to build Dixie Carter as a strong character again. And however they do it, if Hogan does it and that's what he does before he leaves, I consider that a great mark. You know, that's what I want. I want Dixie to be a strong character again. RKO Voices on Twitter. D. Bryan Sheamus was a huge failure. Considering WWE wanted it to be the shortest match in WWE history and wasn't even close. Do you agree that it failed on all sides? Joe.
Did Daniel Bryan... Really? We already discussed this.
But the fact that they couldn't even get the shortest match in history.
Who cares about the shortest match in history? Seriously? That's their biggest worry? That's the biggest issue? I don't know.
Okay, Kevin.
I don't know. It's
keep typing.
Yeah, I mean, I've already said I didn't like it. I thought it was absurd, and I don't think they should squash the title like that. That's pretty much where I want to leave it.
Okay, Rob.
No, I'm not going to say it failed on all levels. We talked about this before, and there's a number of things WWE can do right now, and the crowd is fanatically behind Daniel Bryan.
Okay. From the live chat, Black Bliznerd. Love that handle. Do you guys think that Kurt Angle should have one last go in WWE? I think the fans would eat that up so much. Joe.
No, I don't. I think at this point he's proven himself to now be a TNA guy. I think if he was going to ever come back, he would have done it by now. I think Vince probably had the door open long enough. He's not coming back. I just think he's off on his own now.
Okay. Kevin.
Yeah, I'm torn on this. I think he deserves, because of everything that he's meant for wrestling, to have another shot if he wanted to. I don't think it'll happen because I think Joe's right. I think Vince gave him the shot. He didn't want it and said, okay, that's fine. I understand. So, I'm torn. If he comes back, great. I think there's a ton of great things they could do with him. And, him and Daniel Bryan or him and Punk could be epic. So, I'm in on that level, but I don't think it'll happen.
Okay. Rob?
I don't think Kurt Angle is going to go to WWE until after Kurt Angle retires for a couple of years. I think Vince will put him in the Hall of Fame. But Kurt Angle is pretty much a TNA guy at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how many more Rocky moments this guy really has left in him. I mean, he's going to the Olympics possibly, or not. I don't know. I mean, he came to TNA when maybe he should have retired, and he's already having stuff done to him. I mean, I don't know. I think the only reason he would come back to WWE would be in some kind of backstage capacity, just so they could put him in the Hall of Fame. Just so that way they don't have to do whatever. So that way the last thing he did isn't be in TNA. All right, time for the undercard. First off, starting on a somber note, WWE Hall of Famer Chief Jay Strongbow passed away today. Condolences to his friends and family. John Laurinaitis promised Christian a World Heavyweight title shot if Team Laurinaitis won at WrestleMania. It seems that it remains to be seen if he'll still get the title shot. Scott Steiner was released from TNA, and unlike the dirt sheets reported,
I won't be able to do any more Scott Steiner impressions.
Oh, yeah, come on. Rob, this should not stop you. Let me tell you something!
The dirt sheets, well, one of the big things in the rumor mill was that Scott Steiner would possibly debut at WrestleMania, which we went on record saying on April 1st, it's WrestleMania, it's the perfect storm for shitty rumors. That was the one where we came out and said that's not happening. We emphatically told everybody.
Harrison, he looks like a deflated balloon.
Yeah, he looks like a deflated balloon.
That's the best description.
Yeah. The only way Scott Steiner would have been back in WWE is if somebody was leaking a whole bunch of spinal fluid. Or
that, or he broke in. And that's the only way he's going to be in a WWE event. Justin Gabriel will be out to 6 weeks after injuring his elbow during his WrestleMania pre-show match.
Okay, whoa. Scott Steiner again. Who do you think could make a bigger impact, Shane Douglas or Scott Steiner?
To what?
Shane Douglas had that revolutionary thing, where he's out in the crowd and he disturbed Raw. Do you think Scott Steiner would do something stupid like that?
Oh, yeah. You mean that?
Steiner would get lost in the crowd and forget which way the ring was.
It's like exactly. It's like that scene in Spinal Tap where they're trying to get to the stage and he just keeps in circles.
Yes.
He would still be in the arena 3 weeks later, wondering why no one was showing up for his WWE event. I don't know. It depends on whether or not he took his medication and how much he didn't take. If he just went off his meds and showed up at a WWE event, you better be damn sure he's going to make an impact.
I imagine it would be exactly like those commercials we saw for Rinka King, where he's terrorizing the crowd.
Yeah, he's just chasing them away. It's like when those sheepdogs herd sheep. It would look like that. All right. So, Justin Gabriel will be out to 6 weeks. Will be out for 6 weeks after injuring his elbow. WWE will be holding a 3-hour Raw on April 23rd. There will be two rumors going on right now. One, this will be the night of the WWE event. The other, it'll be an Extreme Rules related. One is that it will be a WWE draft event. The other is that it will be Extreme Rules related, considering it's the go-home show for Extreme Rules. Ugh, Extreme Rules. Ugh. Late last week, it was announced that Randy Orton would be starring in the Marine 3. However, after WrestleMania, WWE decided better of it after getting heat from real Marines who were offended that they choose a guy who was thrown out of the military to represent them. Woo!
Huzzah!
He's orange.
Good.
Yeah, I don't think he films very well. He would, yeah. But yeah, like Rob said, it was one of those things where it's like tribute to the troops, not so much.
Yeah.
That goodwill, yeah.
I'm glad WWE thought better of it after listening to some real Marines who, actually managed to do their fucking duty to their country.
All right. Yeah, you do have a good point. I don't want the show to turn into that. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of drafts, yes, we're doing it again. Season 2 of the FTW draft will be happening. Starting next week, the winner of Season 1, our producer Garvin, will be announcing his first pick. Then for 5 days, we'll be continuing to live draft on our website. For more information will be made available on our website, including who's participating in the official draft and how you can get involved. Just bookmark ftwpodcast.com/draft. Also next week, it's going to be a packed show. It's going to be awesome, including the return of the FTW draft. We got James Hornsby from botchspot.com. He sat down with us for an exclusive interview last week. We'll be reviewing a portion of that next week on episode 109. The full interview will then be released on our YouTube channel. It is definitely a must listen. Great guy, great comic. If you haven't done so, go to his site right now, botchspot.com, and you will lose your entire evening as you hit his archives. Let's do some win-fail.
Women wrestlers aren't getting paid? Why do you do a job?
Here's your win
You do any job,
and fail
is to fucking get paid!
of the week.
Your wins of the week. Go, Joe.
My win of the week is the crowd at last night's Raw. That crowd was electrified. It didn't matter what was going on in the ring. They were into every aspect of everything. I mean, they were talking back to the wrestlers. I mean, John Cena said it best. This is why I love Monday Night Raw. Because it's so totally unpredictable. Thank God, Miami, you just tore it up on Raw. Awesome.
Kevin, your win of the week.
My win of the week is the crowd we had at Joe's for WrestleMania. That included Harrison and Garvin showing up from Cleveland. It was awesome to see you guys. Joe cooked up some Italian sausages that were freaking amazing.
Yeah, I didn't get any of those.
Well,
You're lost, buddy.
I hadn't even eaten them last night for dinner, so they were there. You just didn't grab them.
Yeah, Joe, that party was phenomenal. There
Yes.
had to be like 30, 40 people there.
Or, a quarter of that, but still. No, we had I think 13 to 15 people.
It was a good crowd too. It wasn't like 13 to 14 people that obviously weren't. They were all into wrestling. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a really good time, and kudos to Joe. And if we're traveling for the next one to Cleveland or Chicago, let us know because we'll be there.
Yeah, it's hands down, Joe. You put on a phenomenal party. It was great. All right, Rob, your win of the week.
My win of the week and probably win of the month, maybe even year, has to go to John Cena. I mean, at the end of the Rock match, when he looks out at the crowd and he knows what's coming, and it's just like, you know what? I mean, we say week in and week out about how loyal to the company he is. Past couple of days at WrestleMania 28 and then Monday Night Raw, Cena really proved it. I mean, just looking out at the crowd like, the hell with you people.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
really
yeah.
nothing more you can be said.
Yeah, and then the fact that they were going to hate him for it. All right, Garvin, your win of the week.
My win of the week is this new era, the era of the people power. If that's like a sincere thing, and this is like the step they're going, if they can continue at this pace that they started at Raw, wrestling is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. This is an awesome time to be a wrestling fan, and I hope that they can keep that going.
Oh, absolutely. And when you think about, incorporating the fans a lot and taking feedback from the fans and talking about what the fans are like, including the other ideas that WWE and TNA have repeatedly stolen from us, I guess we can credit that one too. TNA stole the draft. WWE stole this. So to do the wrestling world, you are welcome from the FTW podcast. Because not only do we make dick jokes about the industry, we are improving it one step at a time. My win.
Feel free to send us money. You can contact us. You have our contact information. We accept cash checks.
And if you don't have our contact information, that's contact questions at ftwpodcast.com. You want to send money, you can always send it to Joe at ftwpodcast.com.
We demand tribute.
Or you could just continue to compliment my beard in the live chat. I like
shut
that
up.
too.
They are not complimenting your beard.
I'm sure it's fucking complimenting yours.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, the live chat's still. Garvin is becoming the Daniel Bryan of our podcast. The chat is 100% behind him. They're chanting yes. Garvin,
yes.
Garvin, yeah.
Yes.
Garvin 2-0. for the draft. They are 100% behind Garvin. So what we got to do now is we have to bury him and then watch him rise back up. Everyone agreeing with me?
Nope.
Definitely.
Oh, Joe, party pooper. All right, my win of the week. My win of the week is the end of the Taker Triple H match when Triple H goes to reach for the sledgehammer. Taker puts his foot down on it and then hits him with the chair. But when Triple H, last act of defiance, crotch shot, walks into it, and then Taker pulls his head back, looks down at him, and gives him just drags his thumb across his throat, throws him up into the tombstone, and drops him. That was the perfect ending to that match. Perfect. I mean,
it was
perfect. There, 1,000 monkeys on 1,000 typewriters for 1,000 years will not come up with a better match ending.
It was
than
the
that.
best of times. It was the blurst of times. Stupid monkey.
Whack. All right.
Simpsons.
Fails of the week. Your fail of the week. Go, Joe.
My fail of the week was the hug at the end of the Taker Triple H match. I didn't like it. I really didn't. I thought it was as much as there was this competition between the guys, the fact that they were all lovey-dovey at the end, was like, really? You can give each other hand jobs too? This isn't cool. No, it wasn't. It just kind of went stale for me.
Okay. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. Sorry. Kevin, your fail of the week.
My fail of the week is the bro kick, 18 seconds. It's a world title. It deserves better. It's just bullshit the way they did it.
Okay. Rob, your fail of the week.
My fail of the week, God, this is a tough one. But I'm going to say that Maria Menounos just lying in the ring for, God, I don't know how long before she finally pins Beth Phoenix. Even for a Divas match, that's shitty. I mean, it was just god-awful.
All right. Cool. Garv, your fail. And I'm going to do the chants.
In the same line of what Rob was saying, my fail is the fact that Maria Menounos has been in a confrontation 3 times now with Beth Phoenix and has won every single time.
Yeah.
Her streak somehow is more legitimate than Crimson's.
Excellent point. Chad is saying the World Heavyweight Championship match crowd when Lord Tensei came out the most quiet they were all night, which is true, but I think that was mostly, I don't know, I think Tensei coming out was a little premature. Bottle breaking in Jericho's hand and palm trees suck. I just think we're jealous. You're just jealous that you don't have palm trees. My fail is the whole Jericho CM Punk thing, Jericho's whole return. And I was talking to Garvin about this at Joe's party. And basically, to me, Jericho's return has been Star Wars. Jericho coming back was episode 1. We were all like, okay, here's the promo, here's the vid. We're all like, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be fantastic. Then we saw Jericho come out and we were like, what the hell? There's Jar Jar. There's this weird thing flying around that's supposed to be a Jew that wants money. It was just weird. Then we thought, okay, it's Star Wars. You got 2 more. We'll see what you got. Episode 2 was King of the Ring when Sheamus won. We were like, okay, what the hell are you now doing with Jericho coming back? Because this guy's got nothing since he's come back, and you're just burying him and doing absolutely nothing with him. But we still got a movie left, so let's see where it goes. We know this is going to have to come to an end at WrestleMania with CM Punk, and then what do? He loses. And it's not like he just, after all that build, after all that hype of him taking on CM Punk and the whole promo and everything, loses at WrestleMania. It was exactly like episode 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars. It was just a huge disappointment and a huge disaster. And quick change from the live chat saying the palm trees were added to the WrestleMania ring after tickets were sold and fans were sitting behind couldn't see the ring. Really? Is that what happened?
Yes. The palm trees suck was actually a chant during WrestleMania. Now,
should have been. If I wouldn't have been able to see and I paid all that money, I'd have been really upset.
There was a rumor that they were moving some fans who complained, but I think maybe like after the show started, it was probably too late to move everyone.
Okay.
And there's only so much room that you can move people, so. Who knows?
Okay. Our question of the week for this week is, was the Raw reaction with Daniel Bryan the Miami crowd, or is this the future of Daniel Bryan? That he is going to be this huge, and that, yes, is going to be the new what chant. You can definitely check that out on Facebook.com/FTW podcast. As always, you can find this episode as well as our entire archive at FTWpodcast.com, Facebook.com/FTW podcast, Twitter.com/FTW podcast, YouTube.com/The FTW podcast. You can send us a voicemail at 313-444-FTW4. That's 313-444-3894. Send us questions to questions@FTWpodcast.com. Rate us on iTunes and buy a t-shirt because they are awesome. All right, who's pumped for the draft next week? This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, we'll see you guys next week.